Hello! Our senior capstone project was creating an indie album under the band name The Beige Flags. Our group consists of Ryan, our producer, masterer, synth player, and main composer, Laz, our main guitarist, secondary vocalist, and bassist, and Brianna, our main vocalist, secondary guitarist, and artist/social media manager. Here's our 3 tiers of goals. We just met our reach, creating a full-length album of 9 complete songs in 33 minutes.
Now we'll go into the timeline of how our songs were finished. We'll give an example with the first song we completed, but we don't have time to narrate over all 9. For the song Isms, I finished composing on sheet music on August 30th. I then went into Cubase to create a mock-up, which is like a primitive demo. Brianna then sent in her vocals and guitar on October 3rd, and Laz sent in his guitar and bass on October 7th and 12th. I had a production rough draft on October 4th, and made the second and final draft on the 25th. I later added fine touches sometime in March. Here are the rest of our songs. Here are the backup files for each project. While they update in batches and don't reflect the exact time each song was worked on, you can see from the general months that our stream of work was steady since day 1. I used the classical music approach to composition, writing everything manually on sheet music. This allowed me to be very deliberate with form, structure, counterpoint, and adherence/deviation to music theory rules. Occasionally, I'd record, usually guitars. I did this when I needed a part to be phrased particularly, or I needed to use physical guitar pedals. As you can see, a lot goes into production. I don't magically know the position of each knob, the number of milliseconds for certain processes, or even what plugins to use, so cumulatively, it took literally hundreds of hours to find the perfect values for each plugin, comping track timing, automating controls, tuning, creating the drums, etc. Many times, entire tracks were deleted and remade from scratch until I was satisfied. Mastering is the process of optimizing playback for all systems. This is where you pay attention to metrics, so the song fits distribution requirements, as well as adding around 10 plugins for minor tweaks to excite the mix and bring it forward.
For my composing, I also used MuseScore to write both of my songs. I used it because it was much easier to get an idea of what my final song would sound like, which as a beginner songwriter was very helpful. When I was recording my songs, it also helps me as I changed some sections to be easier to play or sound better. One of my main roles was recording guitar and bass, which required a lot of practice, depending on the song. I also recorded vocals for the songs I wrote, and some songs that Ryan wrote, like The High School Experience and Acolyte. Part of the process for getting verified on Spotify differs for each distributor, but the distributor that we partnered with required that we had a website to verify that we are a real band that exists. I bought a domain name and a website HTML editor, and whipped up a quick HTML-based website that had some descriptions about the songs on our album and album drawings. It also had most of our contact information, which was the most important in getting verified.
I recorded guitar for 3 songs and vocals for 5. I'd spend a couple weeks learning and practicing my sections of the song, and then with the proper equipment, I'd record the final versions. I also created the album cover. After ideating, we decided on a version that we all liked, and I began the process of finalizing the piece. I created a 3D render to better envision the atmosphere and then began drawing, creating the line art, deciding on colors, adjusting the lighting, and rendering. The piece went through various iterations until we settled on the final version. I also managed the Instagram account, promotions, trailer, and the final lyric video. We believe we should receive a 100% for the following reasons. First, we went beyond our reach goal and learned a lot about music creation by exceeding our expectations in both quality and quantity. Secondly, we did this with 0 procrastination. Albums can take years to make, so we had no time to waste with 8 months. Third, although projected to only have 7 songs, we pushed through and made 2 more. We used SCP Fridays for writing, branding, ideation for art, and reviewing compositions. Lastly, everything is documented meticulously, and our creation was presented in a professional manner. We are verified on Spotify, met industry standards for mastering metrics, used social media to advertise, and each member did exactly what was promised during our initial pitch.
Our takeaway is that for projects this big, you have to get started as soon as possible. It's important to plan, of course, but it's also equally important to avoid getting wrapped up in tiny details when you could be working on the main portions of the project. Our main area of growth is recording quality. Due to time constraints, some recordings aren't phrased perfectly or entirely tight with rhythm. Luckily, these are minor and post-production covered them up well. Our advice for next year's seniors is to choose something that they'll want to do out of their own volition, so that it doesn't feel like a chore to get their project done. Thank you for watching!